Come join you this morning. And as Suzanne said, it's always amazing to me that so many of you take time out of a busy Sunday morning to, particularly during March Madness, to spend with us. I can tell you that Peggy and I regard the walk as one of the highlights of our year. We've walked every year since I got here, except for one when we were in Europe. So we did the real virtual walk. We walked to Acadia National Park for the 26 miles so that we could do our part. But it's a great chance to meet so many of you and get a real feel for what the Dana-Farber means to you, whether in the context of patients that you have in your family, people who've had cancer experiences, or whether in the form of the hope and trust you're putting in us, that by using the resources that you raise for us, we will use our research to eliminate cancer someday as something that hopefully our children and grandchildren won't have to worry about. This is a big year for the walk. As you've heard, it's the 25th walk, and I have one very important thing that they highlighted in red in my speaking points, which usually I don't read, to the chagrin of the people who write them. Actually, I sort of do looking over them. But this one's highlighted in red because it's extraordinarily important, and that is that we should all recognize those people who've stayed with us for every one of the 25 years since our founding. So with all the 25-year walkers, please stand so we can express our appreciation to you. Despite those challenges, our faculty and staff have continued to excel. We continue, I believe, to be in the very strong pursuit of that ideal patient care experience, at least on the basis of the feedback that we get. And we continue to be as aggressive as ever in pursuing research, because we believe that there is no time and has never been a time in the history of cancer research when the opportunities to make a real impact on cancer outcomes for patients, to begin to actually be able to talk about that other C word, cure, is as bright an opportunity as it has ever been. And that's because science has handed us the tools to do it. The Human Genome Project, all the technology that's flowed from that, the incursion of incredibly talented people into the field of cancer research. People who might have worked in other fields 20 years ago are now there because they feel that not only can they do great research, not only can they answer questions that are driving their curiosity, but they can actually make a difference. And that, of our core values is the one that stands out, impact, making a difference. And why is it possible for us to be able to be that aggressive and to be that optimistic that these faculty and these staff in the situation of giving care or in their laboratories or at their computer terminals doing research are going to be able, if anything, to accelerate the pace at which we pursue the conquest of cancer? Well, it's because of you and so many people like you. We have been able to maintain that aggressive posture in cancer care and cancer research. We've been able to maintain the morale and the momentum of our faculty because the work that you do and the resources that you give us, that $7.6 million that you provided last year, made a huge difference. It's allowed us to make up for the loss of federal funding, for the decline in reimbursements. It's allowed us to recruit and retain these super talented faculty and super committed faculty. It's allowed us, if you come over and visit us, essentially to completely renovate the campus, the Yockey Center for Cancer Care, clearly a couple of years ago when it opened. But if you now come and see the revitalized Dana Building and Mayer Building, the revitalization of our entire campus, it's a wonderful environment in which to work, and more importantly, it's a wonderful environment in which to receive the care and support you need as you and your loved ones make the journey through cancer. All of those things have been possible because of donor funds. And of those donor funds, those raised by you in the walk, with all of those many steps that you take, is a critical part of that. So on behalf of the faculty and on behalf of the staff and of our patients, all I can really say is thank you very, very much, and that it's truly an honor for Peggy and me to make that journey in from Hopkinton with so many of you. And I look forward, as happens every year, for a chance, as you see me trying to pass you so I get in time to give you yet another speech, to have a chance to say hello and learn a little bit about you and to say thank you personally. So on behalf of all of us at Dana-Farber, thank you for the incredible work that you do. You're all heroes.
Thank you very much, Joanne. Thank you to all the walkers, and thank you to everyone who's here this Sunday morning to help celebrate the good work of this walk. I've actually been charged with delivering two messages. One, why I walk, and two, how do we spend the money? But before starting, I was reflecting on what I was hearing on the 25-year theme, if you will, or recognition. And I was thinking what it meant to be a child crossing the threshold of the Jimmy Fund Clinic 25 years ago compared to being a child crossing that same threshold today. And the answers are about as many as there were children. But one thing that struck me is the chance of being cured at the time this walk began, if you were a child with cancer, was probably a little better than 50-50. Around 60% of the children who crossed our threshold were cured. Today, 25 years and a lot of mileage later, that same number is much closer to 80% of the children who cross our threshold. That's a concrete example of the second part of my talk of, how do we spend the money? Well, we spend the money in a way that has huge impact, as Ed just said, and the greatest impact is in curing people. Believe it or not, in the United States today, there are 14 million survivors of adult cancer and about 350,000 survivors of childhood cancer. So pretty big numbers. So if you've been here before and you've heard this, it hasn't changed. It's why do I walk? And I suspect that why I walk is absolutely no different than why you walk as well. But I walk really for two reasons. One, to honor others, and two, to model for my family what this is all about. And my father died of pancreatic cancer, and when I start on the walk each time, I have his memory certainly in mind. My wife's mother died of cancer, and clearly I walk in honor of the many, many, many patients who I've treated, most of whom are alive and well, but too many of whom are not, and we certainly walk in their honor. When I started walking with my children, who are now in their mid-20s, but as soon as they were old enough to put some mileage in, I took them along with me to see this sea of walkers that you all recognize readily, and to really model what it was to get up in the morning, get dressed, lace them up, and go out there and do something important that takes some effort for other people. And to really model that as an important value in their life, this being a concrete example. And unquestionably, the whole scene, as so many of you in this room know, easily contributes to that. And one of the most poignant examples of having my kids out there with me, when they were pretty young, I would say probably about 8 and 10, they were relatively clueless to what their father did. But we were standing out in the parking lot at Wellesley, waiting for the 26-milers to come in. I was about to walk these little ones on a 13-mile walk. And one of my patients, I was waiting for my brother-in-law to come in. He was doing the long walk. And one of my patients, ex-patient, hadn't seen him for years and years and years, came around the corner, saw my wife and my 2 kids and me standing there, threw his arms around me, literally, great big guy, and said, "Dr. Sallan, I'm Joey Gonzalez, and I'm a firefighter, and I'm a survivor." And I said, "I know you, Joey." And I said, "Well, these are my children." And he looked those 2 kids in the eye, and he said, "Your daddy saved my life." And my 2 kids' eyes were the size of saucers. And the modeling of what it is that we all do was crystal clear in one moment on one walk a long time ago. So I suspect that the goosebumps that still gives me are that which you've all, many of you, felt yourselves undoubtedly. Finally, I walk for myself. There's, at the end of that walk, no matter what you do for others, and who you're modeling for and who you're honoring, when you cross the line and you get that gold medal, the person who probably feels best about that day is the person who you are yourself. And I'm sure that each and every one of you recognize how special that is. So that's why I walk. That's the first 90% of this. How do we spend this money? That's the second question. And we spend this money really about as wisely and intelligently as we know how. And although there are many very restricted teams that are raising money for their own cause, a big part of the walk is raising money for the collective good of all the research we do. So what do you do with research money? What is cancer research? How do you get your hands around something as diffuse as cancer research? Cancer research is really pretty simple. It's space where you do the work. It's the equipment in that space. And critically, it's the people. And what you are doing is raising money for space. Any of you who think about space, if you're renting an apartment, buying a condo or a house, you know about cost per square foot, quadruple it, 10 times it, that's what research space costs. You have fancy little pieces of equipment, they look very simple today, they look like you're buying a dishwasher or some countertop appliance, but they cost about $1 million. They do miraculous things, as you heard Ed talk about, very expensive. And finally, the people in that lab. The faculty, the senior investigators, the technicians who really handle it day by day. And very, very importantly, we have the young, the world's best young coming into those labs and training. And they really would give any of you who get to meet them the great hope and confidence in the future, because we're really training them to go out and make sure that whatever we're doing today, as well as we're doing, will undoubtedly be better tomorrow. And it's one of the very few guarantees that I think we can deliver from a podium like this, is whatever we do today will be better tomorrow. So that's what you do in supporting research. That's what we're most grateful for. You've had huge impact. We thank you all very much and appreciate your efforts. Thanks.
Well, this is a lot of people. Good morning. It is my pleasure to speak to you today as we come together and celebrate our commitment to the life-saving mission of Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Through your dedication and effort, you truly have set the pace for everyone who participates in this wonderful event, the Boston Marathon Jimmy Fun Walk. My name is Monica Vinasco. I am a mom and a proud walker. My youngest son, Jose Alejandro, was 11 when he was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia in 2005. Soon after finishing his 2-year treatment, he relapsed and went through a bone marrow transplant in 2009. His older brother, Rodrigo, was his donor. He was a perfect match, as twins born at different times. 6 months after that transplant, he relapsed again. At this point, it is 2010. Jose Alejandro is a teenager. By now he knows he wants to live, he wants to date, he so badly wants to go back to school. His only chance for treatment was offered here in Boston at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston Children's Hospital. As a result, we moved here to Brookline and our Jimmy Fund adventure began. During Jose's second transplant at Children's, I watched out our window as a huge group of yellow dots moved around Rainy Street. It was Sunday and I asked the nurses, what's going on downstairs? That was when I heard about the Jimmy Fun Walk for the first time. And being the big mouth that I am, I said, I can do that. What do you have to do? Walk 26.2 miles? Sure, I can handle it. 2011 came about. In 26.2 miles with Jose Alejandro in a wheelchair was not a logistic possibility. So we signed up for the 3-mile route. Jose Alejandro, my son, was able to walk some of the route, and we walked together across that finish line. I was so happy to be able to give back to the Jimmy Fund because we received incredible support that first year. In addition to treating his cancer, the Jimmy Fund Clinic gave Alejandro so much more. He had the opportunity to travel to Florida with his Jimmy Fund peers for a Red Sox spring training. This was a trip that allowed him to be normal, as if he were no different from any other kid in the world. To the mother, this is priceless. In 2012, my co-mom and walking buddy, Diana Abrams, and I decided to become a team, and Team Mom, Moms on a Mission, was born. More moms we had met on our long stays at Children's joined us, and together we raised what seemed to be a fortune in our numbers. We were elated and proud. That year, we moms walked 26.2 miles, and my son was waiting for me at the finish line. Diana, her daughter Tati, was in the ICU after double lung transplant. Diana too was on a mission. She walked, only to return to her daughter after reaching the finish line. And this is why I walk, for them, for us. My son Jose Alejandro passed away in December of 2012. the Excellence Award by the Superintendent of Brookline Public Schools. He was honored at graduation ceremony in 2013. So 2013 brought a new purpose and energy to our team. People began to hear about us and wanted to join us or support us. We had donors from around the world. We were on a real mission. This mission had also made me go back to school and train as a Spanish medical interpreter. Cancer speaks all languages, and I wanted to become a voice for the families who could not communicate in fluent English with their providers. My son left me a new profession, a vocation I wouldn't have known if not for him and this journey. 2014 is here, and we will hit that road in September with hope and resilience. I have seen firsthand what the Jimmy Fund provides for research at Dana-Farber. These days, I sit with my sons attending doctor, and I am being educated in what they are doing in their lab. I want to do whatever it takes to make sure the next families coming into this journey have a better chance at a cure. And so I walk. My son was living proof that we are granted opportunities through science. I have experienced the help, support, and services families receive through the Jimmy Fund. The Boston Marathon Jimmy Fund Walk embodies the human and the clinical parts that are intertwined and equally important as we strive to make life better for all of those that are part of the cancer community. This is what real communities are made of strength and compassion and kindness. And we will walk for them, for you, and for us.